Hey everybody, I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
And that for sure does in fact make this X is for Comics, your premier weekly comics response show. We do this, we bring it to you all the time. It's what we do, right? And so now we're here to bring it to you. We're doing the thing. We're going to be talking about some really great stuff this week. I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about Flash over at DC, something we've never done on this show before. And then we're going to be taking a look at the best of Magic over at Marvel, but kind of like focusing on hybrid characters. Characters that are either inherently two things or are serving in two roles, right? So I tried to theme it pretty interestingly, and now you're looking at me. And
Well,
then
no,
when
I'm trying to remember. Are we covering any? Are we not covering any significant Magic book?
we're not covering Loki, we're not covering Moon Knight, we're not covering Strange Academy's current Doom Academy run. There's stuff we skipped.
I'm finding it now immediately more interesting that like the primary Magic books are a lot of 2-in-1s.
Yeah, and that's where I was like really excited about this one. And so I'm
Yeah.
really here for this.
Yeah, I'm both impressed with the curation and also that Marvel maybe made it a little easy.
Yeah, no, I mean Earth Girls are easy, evidently, because I just wanna. Do you wanna? How much Flash did you read for this?
I just read Bad Moon Rising.
Okay.
Again,
so my favorite bad guy. I mean,
yeah. Well, I decided that this would be a scenario of can we jump in on a new arc? No, actually.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's complicated. We're gonna get to it, but like not the worst one we've ever had. Is it Spurrier writing before Bad Moon Rising?
Okay, he's the only guy on this run
for the whole 24 issues.
25, yeah, because there's also an annual.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's impressive, but yeah, we'll talk about it more. But yeah, I picked it up for this last arc, and honestly, I've never cared about the Flash, and I might be a continuing Flash reader. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really excited because this is what I'm not going to be putting back down. But let's take a step back. We're doing this because of our big amalgam project.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who are here for the deep cuts, it's amalgam. But for those of you who are looking for the real stuff, it's an amalgamation. DC and Marvel, they do a lot of crossovers. We're talking about it because we're getting really excited about the fact that we got Batman, Deadpool, and Deadpool Batman coming up. That's 2 releases, one in September, one in November. It's going to be a really great year for comics making some big sales. We've got the return of Grant Morrison, amongst others. I mean, the return of Frank Miller, I guess, counts for something. But we're really excited. So we just covered Amazon Assassins and Bullets and Bracelets on the feed, so you guys can check that one out. And then so today we're doing our next round because we're going to be talking about Speed Demon, Super Soldier, and Doctor Strange Fate on the bonus. So, okay, I want to talk about Marvel Magic for him. I want to start here on Magik herself. This book has everything. I think Magik is the book every other dark magical girl title at Marvel is trying to be, and so rarely hits the mark so well.
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I remember distinctly Blood Hunter's Magic, or the Magic tie-in for Blood Hunt.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah, because some of them were anyway. Was Ashley Allen's, I think, first book at Marvel.
Yeah.
And I thought that's such a big deal to get Magik, who is really, of the girls that came after Jean and Storm, Magik and Emma ultimately became two of the really biggest ones. I think Magik was super cool when she was a teen. But wasn't necessarily that big. Characters like Psylocke really kind of after Jean and Storm took on that bigger role. But as we got into the 2000s, Emma was the really, really big one.
Yeah.
And suddenly when Magik came back and they really tried integrating her into the X-Men again, she became really big, really fast. And so even to get a one-off in a bad crossover for a character like Magik to me was a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
And I was so impressed how this person wrote what basically inevitably couldn't be a great book. There was just no way that it couldn't matter. Like Magik was never going to be like, I've actually been the one solving this the whole time and I'm the true vampire hunter. But I thought Ashley Allen did a great job. and it made me really excited to see what would be next from her. So my expectations for this were super high.
Yeah.
And I like this is definitely the best solo X book. This might be the best X book. Period. And this might be the best book in the line.
And I think part of it has to do with what a deft job they're doing blending characters you wouldn't necessarily think could anchor a title like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something almost Mulder and Scully about the way Mirage and Magik are going at all of this, where like Mirage is very methodical and she's very, we need to do the research. I'm going to cut off my own leg and feed it to some people. And then, you know, Mulder's out here being like, I've got a sex addiction and aliens are real. So like Magik is giving big Mulder vibes. She's wild. She's untamed. She's like in her demon best, but she's presenting this really clear adult version of herself. One of the things that I love about this Magik title is that the art is also absolutely bonkers great. Matt Horak is just like really making a book that feels like the frat version of Eldritch Horror. Like, I really feel like this book is giving me a lot of levels of tasty cake.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I will say Matt Horak on this last issue was maybe not my favorite. Herman Peralta on the other ones has sort of. It's not even that.
It's just Simone Biles. He set the bar too high.
Set the bar too high, and it was a jarring place for a change in artists.
Yeah.
If a bottle issue would have been perfectly fine for this, but it got that was one of like my few critiques. But I think you're really right about, and also the timing too, because they don't introduce Dani immediately. We get through a bunch of issues without her, and then you know we meet new characters. We get a new villain, a very strong villain, a villain for the ages. You know, this is really one that I would take back. I would be very happy to see again. You know, when I think about it, like I don't care at all about the Terra Verde dude, the man with the peacock tattoo. I thought he was an okay villain, but I never want anybody else to write him because he's too edgy as it is.
He just seems like a server at a Bennigan's. Everybody calm down.
Yeah, it's a character that I would never want anyone to pick up, and I would just really worry about what would happen. But like Horticulture, I thought were fantastic, and I could see other people writing really well in Horticulture.
No, I loved Horticulture. I cannot see other people writing.
Not everybody,
really well.
Not everybody, of course. There are plenty of people I would not want to get into that gig, but I see opportunity there.
Yes, no, true. Like, you know, Grant Morrison, if he can come back to Batman, then he could come back to X-Men, ladies and
actually
gents,
a fantastic example of somebody who, you know, his parents were nuclear disarming protesters, so for him to come on with these old women that are violent eco-terrorists, I think would actually be, it's a perfect example.
Wait, oh my, okay, so that is his first ever work on Hellblazer is literally about that.
Yeah,
and I've never made that connection before. That's so funny. I even knew, anyway, amazing.
Yeah, so,
amazing.
You know, there's there are those people out there. You of course pick the best one immediately.
Grant Morrison is the super god that keeps giving.
Of course. So, you know, anyway, Liminal is to me, I mean, Ashley Allen created this character that's just really, this villain that's really exciting. And I kept having concerns about, is this going to be like too redeeming of him, and she is going to fall in love with him really quickly and like dismiss the fact that he is maybe killing mutants to get this job done. But everything has been a really smart, slow burn, where it takes multiple issues to resolve fighting, like emotional fighting, not physical fighting. And I am so impressed all around. Even now, like, immediately there's the introduction of what is essentially the like Midnight Suns from the game Midnight Sun. Like the logo's the same. It's like the Society of the Midnight Suns that Dani works for, and they are, you know, they're a magical cabal that is fighting to stop Liminal. And it starts off with this like, yeah, I get it. Like, Ilyana's pissed, but these guys seem to be the good guys. And just over the course of multiple issues, very slowly, never at any point do you get hit in the head with it. It starts to become clear, oh, these guys might not be the best guys. We don't even go full villain. We just go into like, oh, sometimes the X-Men and Alpha Flight clash because they have different ideas about what to do. But it keeps going and it keeps getting darker. And you have a giggle.
Yes, no, I don't.
You do. I see it.
I don't. I'm memeing in my head. You're doing
okay.
great.
All right. I'm gonna let this one go because sometimes those jokes don't translate when you have to explain them, but it better be funny to you. Okay, good. That's what matters. Yeah. So I mean, like, it's the slow reveal that this organization is not necessarily a bunch of good guys has been a really fantastic thing.
And one of the reasons that I am excited to kind of get a little bit more into the nature of what is a good guy, what is a bad guy, how we're working these boundaries is because I feel like what we're trying to do is we're trying to put restructured good back into the system because we have so many characters with villainous origins or who have been bad guys or good guys who are okay with murder. And, to bring up horticulture, to bring up a character set who believed, and that's even when horticulture were introduced, they did seem like they thought they were doing good. But by the end, they were like, yeah, wholesale murder. Let's do it. And like, I think we've reached a point where the conversation kind of does need to come back. Juggernaut can never be a villain again. Full stop. Juggernaut has been a villain for like 6 issues since 2002, 2001. Juggernaut cannot be evil again. It wouldn't work. But Sabretooth can never really be good because Juggernaut, for like when he battered women like Dazzler, was doing it while possessed by an evil death god kind of thing. When Sabretooth does it, it's because he's trying to get aroused and like it's different. And so like one of the things that this Ilyana book is doing is you're already talking about a character who has a nebulous tie to goodness in the first place. She's already questionable. And not to be weird, but like some of us might have grown up in the 90s and might remember that Moonstar had a period of time where she was actually a different character who was pretending to be a member of the dreaded MILF and was pretending to be Moonstar, a bad guy that wasn't Danny Moonstar, but obviously was. This is one of those things where, like, Fabian Nicieza, sir, you certainly did paint the world together for a decade while Chris Claremont was off taking a nap. But some of these naming conventions, my good man.
This was very much a Mrs. Featherbottom situation.
Yeah. Oh, we shouldn't be telling the X-Force about this, shan't we? So I love this book. I cannot help but give it an A-. I think it might be one of the finest books Marvel is publishing, full stop. It gets better and better and grows on its goodness in a way that I actually do not feel that way about Scarlet Witch titles, which are quickly turning into the Salat that bites its own tail. I am so frustrated with this situation. Yes, I did, because it was that.
I know, it's funny. I know what that is, but I still haven't watched the episode yet.
Oh my god, it was stunning.
We had a busy weekend. I kept thinking I would get some relaxing time to watch it, and then I would put it on and fall asleep.
Yeah, I get it. No, yeah, it's so good. Anyway, so I don't know. For me, the Scarlet Witch titles are a situation where you ran great guns in the campaign and I wanted a Democrat, but instead I got you. And I'm not feeling fulfilled by the promise of Bartlett's first term here, ladies and gentlemen. I love what Steve Orlando is doing, but every single thing feels like treading water on the idea that he set up in the Darkhold event. KEVO, you were literally on that event. That is how long ago we have been treading water on Wanda.
What event?
The
When we
Dark
talked
Hole.
about the Darkhold
Oh.
mini series with all the one shots, Iron Man Darkhold. Yep.
Oh, I remember that one with the freaky
Yeah.
Spider-Man one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like I want to say 2022 because I feel like very soon after we finished covering it, I remember doing our Christmas 2022 coverage. I could be totally wrong about that, but I mean, it's been a while.
Do you think that's a reflection of everything going on with what's going on with her at Marvel? MCU, rather?
I mean, I definitely think there is a desire to keep her somewhere in the public consciousness while having nothing to go on in the MCU, including like not even a photo in Agatha. I might have thought they could get her for 5 minutes worth of total cut footage throughout the whole series. So I genuinely don't know. But something we talked about when we were talking about Daredevil and Saladin Ahmed is Niall's skin. Nyla's skin is annoying because it's just like his pet character that he likes. Steve Orlando has great ideas and has written some stuff I've really liked. A lot of Steve Orlando's work, and especially the suite of minis that he has given, are just pet characters.
Yep.
It's just his pet characters. It's just his pet characters and his pet ideas for the characters. And it was like a little cute and charming with the Spider-Man 2099 stuff and how that got us some X-Men 2099 and how some of those X-Men 2099 then went back in time and became Marauders. Okay. But then we're just stuck in this Scarlet Witch thing. And yeah, it really does all go back to the Scarlet Witch becoming the living Darkhold, which mythology wise is something I can't claim to care about a ton. And I just, this like Buffy monster of the issue, very serialized, but with somewhat episodic, or very episodic, but with somewhat serialized elements, creating minis that themselves are episodic but somewhat serialized. Very meta, I guess, but I just don't know. Like, what am we're closing on the third one, and we're dozens of issues now, and I don't feel like Wanda has grown the way Buffy grew over a comparable amount of story time. I just feel like we're kind of constantly revisiting Wanda's greatest hits, and she's constantly going, yeah, I really am that bitch, and everybody else is, oh yeah, you really are. I wouldn't have thought.
Oh my god, it's that person that did that one really great Halloween costume and is always like, well, you guys know I'm the Halloween king, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Oh my god, find a new fucking costume, bro.
I mean, there's nothing like offensively bad about it. It doesn't suffer from the editing problems that Marvel has in a lot of its books. Any one of these would be a perfectly fine arc or issue, but when you stack them, we just have not gone anywhere. The Vision is Alabaster again, and again, so much of that is them saying like, this happened once before. Yeah, dude, we all know.
Into
like
the upcoming show where he's
going to be Alabaster White again, right?
Yep.
Exactly. And it's 4 issues, and we're not a ton closer to are they a couple again or not. It's sort of doing the exact opposite of what Magik is doing. Magik has had 8 issues, and at that time feels like so much has progressed story-wise, character-wise, interpersonal relationship-wise. There's this whole lecture about how like kind of offensive to her friends it is that Ilyana won't reach out for help, and it's also dangerous. This is not a cool like, oh, you are a lone wolf who's trying to help people out. It is less effective and you're doing a worse job. So suck up your pride and don't even make it about pride. Be effective at your work. And that's an incredibly complex issue, like thing to suss out over multiple issues and to make interesting. And meanwhile, Wanda and Vision are just like, remember when we were in love?
I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be insulting. And I understand how This Is Us is a powerful story, right? But I don't know that This Is Us is powerful the way the color purple is. And I'm not being insulting to either one in the comparison, because you could prefer This Is Us, right? But I think what I'm more trying to say is like there is something, and I don't want to say, and I feel so. There's something was facile about if we just have happiness, we beat the bad guy, and I don't. That is not a NICO storytelling thing. Love beats the bad guy is never a NICO storytelling thing, because I promise you, you've got equal love to that guy's hate, and he also has crazy murder. So, like, I need you to produce something. And, like, it's not my thing, and it's actually my main problem with one of the arcs of Flash that we'll get to. The other thing that I don't care for about this title line is that if you're not Wanda, you are her side piece for the arc.
Yeah.
Your
Even
canon.
Vision.
Yeah.
The Vision and Scarlet Witch. And don't get me wrong, another man can be a side piece, that's fine.
Yes.
But like we've had Darcy,
your
who
canon
is
is just hers to fuck with for her story purpose.
Yeah, Darcy is really well written and great, and for a sidekick, very full in the issue, but just the line could not be more clear that she is just a sidekick. And Viv, now Vin,
compared to Danny over in Magik, who
right.
is an equal lead, just not
right.
by name.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to give, like I said, I'm going to give Magik an A-. It might be the finest X book coming out right now, and it does not show any signs of losing brilliance.
Yep.
I don't think anything negative of Steve Orlando's work on Scarlet Witch, but I think the universe is not giving it room to be positive and an engaging story at this point, so I think it needs a refresh for both of them. Steve Orlando needs to get to move on to what he's meant to be writing right now, which is obviously the first mystical Spider-Man title, and we should just be done with it.
I mean, I love where your head is at. I will say, I think I don't think these books are being foisted on Steve Orlando. I think Steve Orlando is asking for these books. I think he likes the lane that he is in, but I do agree I would like to see him elsewhere in that Tom DeFalco way of like, let's get him off Spider Woman or Spider Girl. Yeah, for me, A- for Magik. I know what that look is. We'll get there in a second. And B- for Scarlet Witch. I
plus for me.
Yeah. It's not that it's negative. It's just that there's nothing hugely positive that I'm just like really galvanized by. When I look at this whole box of canon that he has written for her, I will be very happy that nothing horrible was done to her. Because we've been there, but I won't say, and this is where we got the Wanda that we needed to really take the character forward from, going post House of M, from going post the movies. I'm still waiting for somebody to do that run. And let's be really, really fucking real here. It's a woman who is going to do it. So that's where we're at.
I just want to, you're going to introduce something in a moment. I've never been so impressed with this artist. I haven't had feelings like this since like Phoenix.
I realized I didn't credit the artist, so you didn't know.
Oh no, I know exactly who this is. I read the box.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah, he signed it.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, we just got the announcement a little while ago about Wiccan Witch's Road. I think one shot, maybe a full issue that's coming out, but it had it's a solo series. Yeah. Written by Wyatt Kennedy, who just had a story. Wyatt Kennedy just had the Mystique Pride issue story where she imagines being a good mom to Nightcrawler.
Well, then this is going to definitely be a good book for a white gay man.
Yeah. It'll be
This is-
interesting to see.
I just need to, I'm gonna get this fucking Luciano Vecchio cover tattooed on my fucking body. I've never, I mean, and I think I've met this man. I'm so impressed by his work. I've never been this impressed, and I am regularly impressed. I think this looks like the best of Uncanny in the 80s covers. Like, there is something so cosmically perfect about this. There is line work, there is a density, there is dexterity in the storytelling with color and palette blending. There's a variance to line weight that is so important in some places, but then there's a closeness of line weight in others where there is an incredible consistency along the work. The haloing effect is messy in place. This is something else.
If I had a critique, what do you think it is?
I
It's a
don't.
concern, not even a critique.
Oh, are you concerned that we're gonna like his hair more than yours?
I do love that headband hair
I
situation.
love that. I wish I had hair for the headband.
It is the Tree of Life on his chest.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know,
And I shouldn't. And I did change my word to concern, not critique, because of course, this is technically part of Billy's lineage. Are Billy's adopted parents Jewish?
I don't know. Do you want me to start singing "Oh Shanti"?
Here we go. Thank you, Kevo. So if these people are ever related to Max Eisenhart again, then this is definitely part of his lineage. Adoption, you can, Jewish lineage can pass through adoption in a variety of ways. So this really could be part of his magic. It's also, and it is symbology that is used in that, was appropriated in other traditions. And when I say appropriated, I don't mean like thousands of years ago by like Christian, or 1,000 years ago by like Christian Gnostic, so it's something that other people use. It doesn't have to be that big a thing. Jewish magic in Marvel is like, what's
No, Kevo, in our group chat.
okay. Jewish magic in Marvel is one place that I'm like, I know we can do something Jewish, like not derived from the symbology of Jewish mysticism, but like an actual Jewish mystic getting to practice an art handed down culturally. So that's my only thing. Technically, that could be him. I'd love to see it be him, but it would require really exploring his Jewish identity and really exploring how he came to take on the kind of secrets of the culture. I don't know if we're gonna get that. Maybe we will. It'd be super cool. We shall see.
I really am so excited that we got to have that conversation. Like, I mean, I really always need more queer heroes. I need more queer heroes to be heroes, right? Like, there is so much to the storytelling narrative identity of what we do as I guess specifically like superhero writers, where we're always trying to take the gritty mysteries of noir, and we're always trying to take the theater of war horrors, and we're trying to take soap opera elements, and like when you try to piece together this very careful quilt, it winds up sometimes a little threadbare. And I feel like with queer characters, that threadbare quality is at its roughest, right? The pilling is real. Like, I just blew the world's mind by saying that gays have a problem with pills. But I feel like one of the things that I was not expecting, and I'm going to say it this way, was to genuinely hate Hellverine. I thought I'd dislike this book. I did not expect it to be a D for me. I think this book is kind of unforgivably bad. This is literally the weakest writing I've ever seen from Ben Percy, who I think is a very talented writer, who has great ideas. But there's stuff like, I remember when Transphobe the Idiot wrote that 7th book and was like, I've defeated you with the powers of real estate. I heckled that writer for so long that people were like, you got to let it go. And then they turned out to be a humongous transphobe. So everybody was fine with it, that I keep heckling them. Some of the, like, I beat you with the logic of a contract in this is beneath Ben Percy's ability to excel with horror, to shine with fear, and then to go to what feels perhaps like you bought High C just to re-release Ecto Cooler, going back to Hell Hulk when we're already doing an Eldritch Horror style Hulk over at Hulk. This was, for me, a waste of an unbelievably talented writer, an unbelievably talented art team, and an incredibly promising character. This is a big hiccup unless somebody comes along with a vision. This is rough.
I didn't have that bad a reaction to it. It's not good.
Show's over, guys.
Yeah, we're done. Here's the thing. I think if we're not doing Fang, which would have been my preferred way of going about this, if we're not keeping Akihiro as Fang and having him be not a member of the Wolverine family, but not a Wolverine, dealing with the in and outs of Laura being Wolverine is enough. Like, Miles and Spider-Man both being Spider-Man, somehow we figured it out. And even though fans get a little weird and racist fans will say not my Spider-Man, and fans who just love Miles Morales will say, like, I've just never known the other guy, this is my Spider-Man, somehow it's mostly peaceful coexistence, and we don't let the people who make it toxic really dominate the fandom.
Yeah,
it has been tough. We're not there with Laura and Logan. It's not horrible, and I think the people who love saying Laura is Wolverine and just calling her Wolverine and not saying X-23 do okay. It's not my favorite way we go about this, but it's not the worst. It is possible for them both to coexist, and we're doing the best we can. Not interested in adding a third. I really liked Fang as an homage to what Wolverines are.
I even think Hellfang would have been great. Sure. You could have done the Kip Fang.
Well, so I like that. But I'm thinking like Fang and Bagra Ghul never came. He just got to leave Krakoa and go be a hero who never died.
He could have been an Avenger.
Yeah. So
Straight.
Setting that aside, that would have been, I think that would have been my preferred thing. Setting that aside, I don't hate the idea of a Wolverine possessed by a spirit of vengeance. I don't hate the idea of Akihiro possessed by a spirit of vengeance. I like, remember Hot Claws from when Wolverine got resurrected? Like, stupidest thing ever, but it if you're possessed by Bagra Ghul, sure, like that works. This doesn't have to be bad at all, and if this lets Akihiro stand out from the rest of the Wolverine family in a way that requires absolutely no competition with the Wolverine name, I am okay with that. Similar to how Scarlet Witch is just treading water for issues and issues on end, this was mostly a water treading book with bad ideas about what waters to tread in. I think you're completely right. Hell Hulk is just not where I'm at. I that's not going to be a thing that interests me. There's too many Hulks as it is. There's a lot. What's crazy is there's a lot of Ghost Rider stuff that would have been perfectly cool.
He could have just been in a fucking Ghost Rider book and not been Ghost Rider and Akihiro.
Yeah, that also would have been an option. I loved this most recent issue for the one payoff that I felt that it gave me, that is why it's not getting as low a grade from me, is him walking into Project Hellfire and being like, I found a home here. I care about these people. Like, my friends are currently healing, and he goes and does a handshake with one of them, and he's like, I legitimately want these people to do well. It has been growth for a character that doesn't get to grow a lot, and just sort of gets bandied about in weird ways, and that doesn't excuse a lot of the other stuff. This book has not been crazy interesting to read. Like, the build up to get to the point where he has these relationships hasn't been fun. Now that I'm here, I'm really happy to see that he has them, and I would love to see a book called Project Hellfire, where this is the team, he's one of the people on it, and they're doing stuff. But I would want it to be better. So I don't really know. And then we get into the whole idea of like Marvel. I don't know, like they'll just reverse this in 2 years for no reason, and then I'll have really wasted my time on a book that wasn't that great. If this was going to be his life for the next 20 years, I would be at least happy to say we were there when.
We invested at the time. We put in the work to make it possible for him.
Because, hey, we read books in the 90s. We've read so many not great comic books to be like, we were there. We fell in love with those characters. We slogged through.
I've wasted my time on Worse Than You.
Yeah, exactly. And inevitably in 20 years, when somebody, has a random reference to the two lieutenants, we'll remember that because we read it. We were there for it. But my fear is just that in 2 more years, something will happen. He'll have it exercised from him, and reality will have been massaged such that he never actually died, and he's just a normal guy. And hey, now he wants to be Wolverine. And this will have felt like an exercise in futility and a not especially interesting one.
Yeah, I do believe you are correct that we are about 15 years away from Akihiro stepping into the role of Wolverine, redesigned by Alex Ross with a pair of black leather pants. And it just does not inspire me to greatness. I really do not like this book. Yeah. But something I liked was when Strange was in the book and was having no shits to give. But then he goes over to, I really love Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard. Like, the art, the book, it is the dumbest B+ of my life. I love this book. I think it reminds me of what I liked about Fables at first. I give this book a B+. D?
D.
Maybe
not quite a D, but a
D
for sure. I did not connect with this book at all. No aspect of it.
Do you generally connect big time with Asgard? Not like saying you're not a real Thor fan or anything.
No. I mean, like, I don't, but like, I love the Aaron run. Like,
yeah, of course.
Like, I think Asgard is completely uninteresting to me unless it's written really well. It's not a setting that anybody can just slide into for me. And again, that's I'm bored by Asgard, not not anything else. But I love that you brought up Fables, because Fables is in large part like a procedural mystery comic. Like, that's the procedural serial mystery comic. That's the point of it. I did not care even a slight amount about this mystery, and the entire point of it is the mystery.
Are you not like super obsessed with when Loki's a bad boy? Like, is that not your favorite thing? Like, do you not live for Loki being bad but not really bad, but so bad but not? Like,
of
Loki
course,
being a shitbag is my literal favorite thing.
I really do love it too. It's Loki's really not in the book that much. Like again, I love the Gillen McKelvey run on Young Avengers. There's a couple other really good examples of Loki being the good and bad boy. This really doesn't have a lot to do with Loki. And it's so obvious that you're not going in that direction. And it gets a little the back and forth gets a little boring to me. And I did not connect with the art at all. I did not connect with the art, and I think that was also the fault of the script and the lettering, because every page is so full of stuff. They're so busy, it's impossible to read. It's impossible to enjoy either thing.
And the man's name is Carlos Magno, not Carlos Mango. And so don't Chris Kattan that up like I've done for 2 years. Have a good day.
Again, to me, huge editorial fail on Marvel's part. I just don't see how you could get a script like this and say, that's fantastic, you're good. I absolutely would have demanded that every single page contain a quarter of the words that it did. It just is so overwhelming to read an issue of this. And you didn't get to enjoy anything because there's so much art. There's so much packed into the art, which is an incredible feat, but not really able to appreciate it when I'm also trying to get this story where this dude is over explaining, procedural mystery stuff. On top of the fact that, is it Bendis that writes Doctor Strange with Bacalo and they make him a little younger?
It's Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. That's
why he carries a giant axe, because it's Aaron, so Aaron. He must have a giant penis in his hands.
That's the only one I have really resonated with lately. I think Benedict Cumberbatch did a number on everybody's perception of this character, and he's been written really weird ever since.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but first of all, my John Constantine is not somebody who can charm the pants off of you. My John Constantine is somebody who comes over to you when you're already wet because somebody charmed the pants off you and then went home with somebody better and says, I got a cigarette, you want to fuck? And that's my John Constantine. So when people write him like he's Prince Charming in a trench coat, I'm like, you've lost your minds, okay? And so in the first place, I think magic characters are really hard to get right. My Doctor Strange is kind of off-putting and is somewhere between Gucci and Gothic. And I feel like you need to have that parallel boundary. The Doctor Strange I'm getting now is just straight up Anna Wintour does magic. And that's not Doctor Strange. And for me, one of the reasons I love Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard, is because, he literally can't be Gucci at Asgard magic things, because he's got to be man of mead and mystery. And that's a different hero. And so, I'm at least glad that this unbendydicks him, and then we can get back to Cumberbatching.
I hear where you're coming from. That's not a bad. It is a good direction for the character to break up some monotony. Even if it doesn't interest me, I don't hate that it's happening. There's some great stuff with him and Clea. I can't remember who was writing it at the time, but just my favorite moment is he and Clea are together and Black Cat comes into frame and just screams at Doctor Strange about something, and Clea just goes, oh no, she's terrible, and he goes, yes, let's leave. And there's just them as Emma Frost-esque people that are funny but look down on everybody in a way that, again, people find off-putting. They don't, undeniably you're powerful, nobody's gonna deny, but you're a dick. There's something very funny about that. And this book just has absolutely no humor either. I don't know. I definitely like the idea.
What do you mean it has no humor? I'm going to call you Dr. Tiny Man. I'm barely smaller than you. Human! I'm going to call you Dr. Tiny Man.
Yeah. That was a little funny. Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have no humor. It has very little humor.
Oh, well, good note. I'll remember that.
No, I mean you're right.
No, and
you are right.
and
reasonable
it's not
to
your
call me out on that.
but it's also not exactly your style of humor. It's not your favorite way of telling a story. It's, I think, in some ways, whereas Hellverine appeals to the things that you appreciate and find exciting about amalgamating ideas at a single universe, I think in a lot of ways, Doctor Strange, Asgard Sorcerer is like almost sloppy in a way you don't appreciate. Whereas I think sometimes what Ben Percy did is sloppy in a way that I don't appreciate, but you think is fine. Like we both give hall passes to the kid we think is fine. Like there's no big difference, but like I really get where you're coming from, because there are ways in which I feel like this is an SNL sketch of Doctor Strange and Asgard. And that first of all, that means it can't stick the landing, which I'm sorry, it did not. This did not stick the landing. The last issue was not my fave. However, Holt being the embodiment of Yggdrasil passing judgment on Doctor Strange as worthy devastated me emotionally in the best way. That was, I stood at my book and kind of cried. Like,
that actually was my favorite part.
The word worthy, like
yeah.
what that word means in this context. It was, they literally called him a god of compassionate magic. That is amazing.
Yep. No, that was my favorite part, and I would be very happy to see that character return. That was a great character. Yeah. And you also, you absolutely named it. Like, it's, I recognize, I think all of your critiques about Percy's book were 100% correct and valid, but I do give it a little bit of a hall pass, and there was stuff in it that like worked for me, that got to places I wanted it to go. Even if I don't think the book did it well, I'm at least happy that we got some stuff. And similarly, like I have critiques about this book, and I think they're valid, but I also think it got to where it needed to go. I just didn't enjoy that as much. And, but all that said, I'm still excited for Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard.
Yeah, and it's going to keep going. It's going to get renumbered at 450, and he's going to remain the Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard, which I don't even want to get into it. I just kind of want to laugh for a moment. Have you seen what's happened? So everybody, surprise, it's not going to start being called Doom Marvel, and he is not going to remain Supreme Doom above all.
What?
I know. But his deposal is nigh, and as a result, you got to do something to keep him in the books, right? So have you seen Doomed 2099, where all of the time displaced characters, it's like Old Man Logan, a scrawny mother Rachel, Bishop, it's like all these time displaced characters just take on Doom 2099 because it's no longer one world under Doom, and you got to keep him in the books because no one buys Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Well, I think then what I would recommend is that Marvel perhaps take a moment and think about where the Sorcerer Supreme is going to wind up. We've already seen from our earlier coverage, this episode, Wiccan Witch's Road is going to be coming out. We've got Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard, Doctor Strange relaunching with number 450. But then my question becomes, what's the next step at Marvel Magic?
I mean, this was what I was thinking during the... Also, you just got an image from me, and you should take a look at it. This is what I was thinking about during the read of this, because I was thinking about, like, gods. It always goes back to gods for me, because I really thought that was Marvel saying, all right, magic is really slapdash over here. We have nothing codified. That we have no... There's no, ability to amalgamate, to combine forces, to do anything. There's no overarching umbrella. We keep creating random organizations, and I just thought gods would fix some of that, and it did nothing. And I look at what we have in these Magic books, and I still find that we're so disparate. And, you know, like I love Ashley Allen creating the Eternal Dawn, the organization that's fighting Liminal, but like that's a whole other organization. And there were probably other ones we could have used. Project Hellfire now exists because of Ben Percy, and that's something that could have been, just that could have been Department H's Hellfire brand. Like there are other options, and for me, what it would be is a soft event that sought to consolidate a little bit and bring all of the magical, like the best magical stories and people together. And it doesn't have to be the biggest event of all time. It doesn't have to be Blood Hunt, but for Magic. But it really could just be, just the summer of Magic, and a solid threat, but not Marvel constantly saying nothing will ever be the same, but then make nothing ever be the same. That's the cool thing. Like, don't promise it and not deliver. Promise nothing and then over deliver, and just have some fun with it. That's what I would love to see. What I think we will continue to see is Steve Orlando gets a mini, Magic. Once this ends, I genuinely don't know what will happen with Magic, in a good and bad way. We're never not going to have some kind of Doctor Strange book. So I guess we'll just kind of play it by ear.
I kind of feel the same way. I think one of the things that I think Marvel's Magic is going to have to do is going to have to be one of the next places that they look to. Between Marvel Magic and Marvel Cosmic, that's kind of the last place that they're going to be able to dig other than mutants. We know mutants are next, but like, what is going to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now that fans are clamoring for? I know that it did not do the way we all wanted it to, but Midnight Suns, it changed a lot. I saw several Midnight Sun suits at FlameCon this past weekend. I have seen so many creators reference these characters, talk about loving this video game. I know that it did not do the numbers that everybody was hoping for, but it was an incredibly influential game that got people really thinking about how you could make a magical setting work. It was, what if there was like almost like a Zen retreat for Magic battling instead of the Xavier School. There was a lot there that was worth mining, and so I think we're in a rebuilding era, and I think you're going to be looking at some kind of like new X-Men style Magic book 3 years from now.
I would love that.
Let's talk about people who could do that, but I don't want them to do it. Okay. My first Flash run is Mark Waid, his original run, and then of course I do Impulse and Kid Impulse, and I come back for his right around when Gale was on Wonder Woman return. I'm a big Mark Waid, if you haven't noticed, I'm a pretty big Mark Waid guy, and I'm a big Flash guy, I guess, because of that. I created a superhero that is the superhero that I think kind of best reflects the way I see the world, and he is a speedster. And I did things a decade ago in some notes there that I thought were like groundbreaking, and then somebody said to me, you should read some speedster books. And so I go out and I read some Flash, and I'm like, fuck, okay, not groundbreaking, evidently groundbreaking for 1963, give me a minute. I read more, write notes, wind up with a book I'm very proud of. So everything that's come out has been, for me, something I'm really proud of. And where I am struggled with excitement is that things I thought I was one person for coming up with, I can see reflected in this Flash run. And then every other person that's worked on Kid Riot, every other person that's had ideas for speedsters, every other person that's worked on Quicksilver, every other person that's worked on Impulse. There is this idea of what the power of moving faster than anyone can believe can be. And there are times it's gorgeous in this book. And then there are times I don't like it. The first 6 issues are kind of messy. I give them a B-. 7 through 13 plus the annual are the height of I can't figure out what's happening. It feels like a Vertigo book. And it's that, what is happening? And then Diodato doesn't stick around on the title. So like you lose that visual cohesion and symmetry. And the first 2 arcs are a mess. And it kind of feels like the first 2 arcs are a season 1 where somebody took the creators and said, hey, guys, you got cool ideas, but what's actually coming out is kind of confusing fans, and it's not making it easy to continue reading. Oof. Once you get to Warlord and Eclipso and creating dual existences and the Shade and speedsters being able to rearrange molecules by understanding the rhythm of reality. Come on. This is like speaking NICO. This is the coolest thing. And first of all, anyone who knows me knows that like one of my top 5 villains of all time at DC is Eclipso. What a humongous influence on my writing. I really love this character so much. And like he's evil. I don't like love him. You know, he could never come back and be fine. But like, man, I'm a Flash fan maybe for life now. I've read some Flash runs before this, but what's really exciting is I've never gotten to be part of a Flash run that I feel might be changing Flash canon as it's coming out. And okay, so what you don't know is Inspector Pilgrim.
I know. I googled.
Okay, only created like 6 months ago. Like, I mean, like only revealed who he was 6 months ago, but only created like a year and a half ago.
I thought he was 2011.
Well, I'm sorry, to be the baby in this instance, the connection that who he is this character only revealed in this run. So like who he is and how we understand him to be and how we understand this nature of this character, this run. And so like, you're seeing major changes happen on the page, but this is a book that definitely suffers from, I'm sorry, please stop writing 13-year-olds like they're 6. I'm so tired of 13-year-olds that talk like they watch Barney, and I need to stop seeing the word poop. I see the word poop too many times.
I wonder if that all comes before.
It might. And then even then, my only other problem, because everybody powers up every issue. It is like a Sentai. Everybody is getting new powers every issue.
Yeah, that I can definitely see. I did not experience that throughout the whole run, but you can even see it just in Bad Moon Rising. But no, in Bad Moon Rising, I was actually I thought they were a little too, how do you do, fellow kids from Cy Spurrier, not quite being able to write like what an actual 13-year-old would sound like. But I felt like it was like almost Dawson's Creeking them. They never came off as super immature to me. I guess the thing was more that they is the daughter's name Irie?
Iris, but she's Irie.
Okay. Okay. I figured it was based off Iris West, but I wasn't sure how we were pronouncing it.
Everybody Irie.
Yeah. That's what I was trying not to go to, because I thought somebody might have told them they can't call her that. But she comes off as just like really bratty, like again, and just in that way that like you don't, as an adult, you don't realize that you're writing a teen poorly. And of course they're going to be frustrated and angry, but if you write them a certain way, they're just going to keep coming off as like, Dad,
wah, wah, I'm young.
Yeah. And Jay or Jai, the same thing, but just like angry. But like, I don't know. They both seemed okay. They both seemed pretty cool. For my experience, this was such a dense place to start this. So this is a new arc that starts at issue 20 called Bad Moon Rising. And what I was really impressed by was that by about the third part of the arc, I felt like everything that I generally needed to know had been explained. Issue 1 was kind of inscrutable, and it never gave you that vibe of, we're telling this in media res, we know that you're not going to understand a lot of these things, keep reading, this is meant to be, this is meant to be a reveal. What it felt like was, this is just the story that Cy Spurrier wanted to write, and it happens that in the way he writes, he will repeat his explanations enough that you will be able to get it. But it did not feel like an intentional, you could jump on here and what we're going to do is tell you the story in such a way that you will figure it out. It sort of seems like they lucked into that more than anything else. But I did understand it all. No, I don't. I'm probably not all of it. There's probably a lot I'm missing.
No, I mean, I would imagine that you understood enough and you missed external context.
Yeah. And I found it very interesting. We were talking maybe even last week about how I was saying like, because it was when we were talking Quicksilver versus Flash. Quicksilver, super fast, absolutely goes, to India and back for Biryani 7 times, and only 4 seconds have passed, and that is insanely fast and super special. The Speed Force is a whole other level. That is a speedster who is tapping into a fundamental force of the universe. And so for me, A, you're always going to win in a race, obviously. But B, that ought to come with other powers. And as soon as they said shards, I knew exactly what must be they're going so fast, they're shunting over to other. And every time they would talk about a new power, I would be like, it's because they have access to the Speed Force. They're getting into the fundamental forces of reality. It doesn't surprise me that they can do X, Y, and Z. I think I'm more surprised to learn from hearing from you that some of these ideas haven't been explored further, or haven't been explored previously, especially because the big power thing that I know about Flash is that, he flash pointed and rewrote DC continuity.
Well, I mean, he time traveled.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but he didn't I'm going to do this. He time traveled.
Yeah.
But this is reshaping reality.
Yeah.
Not making a choice.
I think my point is more that because they did that in Flashpoint so long ago, I'm surprised that this hasn't come up.
I can't promise it hasn't.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's coming up good and strong now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Special was a beautiful issue. I probably would have not called it part 4, and I probably would have left anybody who wanted to. If you care about Shade, it's really funny. Shade just came up in something we were talking about.
The Justice League and Superman the Animated Series. I brought him up 2 weeks ago on air.
No, because it was something where
yes,
yeah, but it was something where it came up, and I was like, "Is that Shade the Changing Man?" And I went and Googled it, and it wasn't on air. It's I feel like it had something to do.
We Are Yesterday, I think.
Maybe, but I felt like I was gonna come to you and tell you something. I feel like it's something that you didn't read or see. I want to even say it was an audio drama, but I know it's not a DC audio drama. I'm gonna figure out what this was. But anyway, it was just very funny to me because I had seen this character and I was trying to figure out, maybe it was a Titans reference. I was trying to figure out if it was Shade the Changing Man, and obviously it's not. But this was, I thought this was a beautiful issue. And it taught me a lot about a character I literally know nothing about. But clearly I thought it was another character. Did it move the story forward? Marginally. 10% of the issue moved one piece on the board forward.
And then he literally says it so well in one sentence in the next issue that it made me want to punch a wall.
Yeah. And so I don't know what this felt like, a little bit of a vanity project. Like Cy Spurrier is just like, I really need people to know I have thoughts on Shade. And I'm going to get this out of my system. And I guess when you get to a certain level of comics writerdom, you get to do those things. I just maybe would have called it issue 3.5.
Yeah, and also I gotta be honest, like I love Eclipso, and like I love Eclipso, and I love Eclipso as like a mad nut job. He should not have a lot of logic behind what he does. He's like essentially an ancient nightmare of an existence. Like he is awful, and he's like a broken, not quite God, right? So him being unwilling to explain why he wants to do things does not bother me. I hate so much of the naming conventions in this issue, in this series. There's a thing in the earlier issues where there's this place where they're broken and stuck between time called Icto, because it's ICKTO, which is between tick and talk. That's cool, but not clever as a name over and over again. Likewise, and you can sit there and anybody who wants to can be like, NICO, you just literally sound like a foolish Luddite. But I'm sorry, Heliophage is not an incredibly threatening name, and I'm going to sit here and wait for you to say, so says Heliophage. And if he wasn't somebody who had to monologue, it'd be one thing. But he's a monologuer. So I know that his name having so many syllables means now that I have so much time to defeat him. So, like, I don't love the names here.
It's really funny because I'm reading a fantasy series right now where one of the, like, huge overarching villains is called the Sun Eater, which is literally...
That's a perfect name!
Yeah, which is literally Heliophage. Heliophage sounds like a virus, and actually I feel like
that's a skateboard brand.
I think it actually literally is the name of in the new Andy Weir movie that's about to come out. Guys, I'm gonna spoil a movie for you that still doesn't come out, but this Ryan Gosling, thank you, Ryan Gosling movie where he's like a teacher and he wakes up and he's in space because they've sent him out to space. The whole point is that the sun is dying and they can't figure out why. And I'm pretty sure it's because of this thing called the heliophage, which is like
that's also the plot of Lorenzo's Oil.
There you go. Which is like a microbe that is eating the sun basically. And I'm almost certain it's called the heliophage. So anyway, just like you're right. It is not a good title for a large villain.
But speaking of large villains, one of the things that I think is looming incredibly big in this book is the idea that Wally got to become Flash early. Something that I've been thinking a lot about is why we eventually give up on Hal's and Barry's is because they've been put through too much. Part of why we have not given up on Diana or Clark or Bruce is because they've been put through so much that we can't even begin to process it. But we've broken other characters just enough, and yet John Jones and John Stewart, by nature of being black or black allegorical, have been held back from getting enough attention for long enough that they haven't been broken by continuity yet. So one of the things that I've been really thinking about is Wally is actually approaching broken by continuity time. It's getting to the point where Wally is going to get to be like, oh, that stupid old Flash. Oh, my God. But there was a moment in the previous arc that a Flash kind of had to die or give up their powers. Something had to happen. And Barry chooses and Barry and Wally haven't spoken in years at this point. And Barry decides it's going to be him. And the caption is, the older man wants to say, I'm sorry, I was so busy waiting for you to need me, I wasn't there for you when you did. He wants to say, I couldn't do all that you do. He wants to say, it has been the joy of my life to see the boy that you were become the man that you are. And as someone with very fatherly feelings towards someone who thinks of me as a dad, this helped me really understand why it is so important that we let these characters become their own men. I purposefully go out of my way to elevate this person in my world, in my life, Jonah, who is of course on this show, because I think of him that way. To see a superhero get to do that is something we talk about all the time. Peter Parker will never get to do that because he's never going to get to truly be a father. Scott Summers will never get to do that because he's never going to truly be a father. But the value of damaging a character beyond the ability for them to continue being the protagonist is to give them the opportunity to experience other forms of elevation, other senses of being. True, if we graduate Diana past the role of mother, she will never be mother again. But think of the fantastic Diana Crone stories we can tell, while Trinity tells the maiden stories. And then someone like Yara Flor can tell the mother stories. By giving agency to aging as a gift and not a threat, Flash was able to do something that I feel Marvel struggles to do, and yet Flash did it with a curious aplomb. It did it with a soft kindness that befits generational transition. That story about taking the ring, you must take my... Oh, so that's in the previous arc. Even though the Flash ring does nothing, Barry is like, Wally, I don't care, I'm retiring. You have to take the ring. We have to have something that we give each other that makes us the Flash. You have to take it. And like, there is something so dignified in letting someone become something different, even if just for a few years, before we put Barry back into the spotlight. It's a kindness, and it's an allowance for people for whom he is their hero to become new men again. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that was I got sort of the epilogue to that. Where Barry shows up in Bad Moon Rising, and you know, the one thing I really like about hearing your description is like, you do need to have these moments with the people that are special to you, where you have sort of a definitive moment of closure. Maybe is even the wrong word, but just like a state change. But that doesn't mean, you know, that specifically does not mean that Barry is done being in Wally's life and that he is done imparting wisdom onto him, even if it is maybe sort of not in the same role as an authority figure, but maybe more of a colleague or, you know, a holder of institutional memory, you know, Flash.
I mean, what would you call Giles to Buffy once he's no longer really the Watcher to the Slayer? You know what I mean?
Well, that I hate that example because I think he should always be the Watcher.
He's always the Watcher, but to Buffy, he becomes the person that treats her like an adult.
Yeah, I hate that. I think he should always treat her like a child. I know, I'm insane. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But for me, it's not. It's that like I think the show took the message a little too far. Your parents are always your parents. Of course, they should see you as an adult, and they should never infantilize you. But he really steps back from being a parent. And I think they just sort of missed the mark, and I think this sort of didn't miss the mark. The role is like, you can like, obviously I can't stop you. I'm not grounding you, and I'm not even going to do the like, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, but I am going to come here as somebody who literally has more experience than you with this and has also had this job and is seeing what you're doing and is maybe seeing like with some distance and a little more age. I can tell you this probably would not be what you would want to do. You will probably not look back on this and be happy. And that is a role that somebody who is older, no matter what, can take on, even if they can't say to you, like, I'm definitively the authority here. So I just thought it was interesting and really well done, and I'm very pleased to hear also that it is paying off other stuff that was done to sort of explore the relationship between these people and have real moments of, again, like state change and buy-in, and not just like we'll be in this constant cycle, or we'll definitively say like I'm dying or disappearing from the universe and I'll never return again until, we decide that we need the money for the crossover event and we bring the character back.
And please wait till you go back and read the stuff that you haven't read yet and find out all about the insane Max Mercury stuff going on. Oh, yeah. It's nuts. It's so good.
I did Google some of these characters, so yeah, I'm excited.
This is a great book, and it's something where like it makes me realize you and I are like minded for speedsters, even if we believe we're like TK boys. Right? Because
I still need to come to that realization.
There is a magic to that. And there's a magic to everything that we talked about today, whether it was actual magic or Flash. And this is an episode where I don't think I had there was stuff I didn't like at both houses. I didn't necessarily love the egregious kind of like masturbatory nature of the special. I found some of that second arc, like I said, almost impossible to read at times. But Flash delivered overall a B+. And you know what? So did Marvel. In part because Magik is dragging up the average. In part because, for me, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard is pulling up the average. I feel like I got a great balanced week where I feel really satisfied. Even the things that left me feeling kind of wanting, like Akahiro's role over in Hellverine, gave me an inspiration. If somebody comes along with the same view as somebody like a Garth Ennis had for Hellblazer, that went ahead and made John Constantine an eternal powerhouse in the DC universe, not just a 40-issue flash in the pan by then European unknown writer Jamie Delano, I feel like this could be an entry point to something very exciting where there really is a dark magic Wolverine at all times. But we kind of need to see it go there. I'm really happy. I think we had a great episode. How about you?
Yeah, I had a fantastic episode. I had a ton of fun. And I really agree with you. Like, even, again, I didn't love Doctor Strange, but I take out of, we have the Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard now. And we have, what is the name of embodied Yggdrasil? Halt. We have that character who I really truly think S-tier character for Marvel, period.
S-tier character for Marvel. Totally agreed.
I would be so happy to see that character back. We're flirting a little too removedly with Vision and Scarlet Witch getting back together, but I love the romance between them. And if we do pay it off, I will be really, really happy. So there really is something here for everyone. My grade for the Flash overall is very high B+, A-. The biggest drag down for the entire arc is just the odd placement of part 4.
That fucking special bugged me too, man.
Just really weird. And then, I forgiving but eyeing warily just how insanely dense this book is and when you might ever tell a friend to go pick it up. Because
they better have the week off.
And I started at issue 20, so it's 5 books that I had to pick up. That's not an insignificant investment. So you're always trying to think like where can you tell your friends to do it where they won't necessarily have to spend a lot of money if they don't end up liking the thing.
Right.
And so, you could never tell people, even if it was trades, to pick up a book like this from the beginning, because we're so many issues in now. But I would really encourage anybody to, unless you like just hate Cy Spurrier, to dig in and pick this one up at where it is now at Bad Moon Rising, and have a lot of fun with it.
I love that. I cannot wait to come back and talk about more. Kevo, you produce the amazing F out of this thing. We are so grateful for what you do. I know we're going to come back and talk about Alien Earth. We're going to come back and talk about more Star Trek. We got tons of stuff on the horizon, and I can't wait to talk about all of it with you. Where can we find you producing this show? What's up?
What's up? We had a great weekend at FlameCon. That was fun. That was why we were off from our regularly scheduled broadcast this weekend. But we're going to be back with a vengeance. Like you said, we've got Alien Earth. We got so many cool things coming up. You're probably going to try to trick us into covering The Conjuring this fall. So that'll be coming up. Spoopy, happy Halloween. And if you have any suggestions or thoughts on what you would like us to cover this Halloween, hit us up at X's for Show or any one of us up at our socials. You can find me at KEVO Really. That's KEVOREALLY.
TK, if they want to be cool and they want to check you out, like checking out Kevo, other than at X's for Comics, X's for Podcast, X's for Show, and more, where can everybody check you out?
You can find me on the socials at TK Accidental. And last but never least, where can everybody find you, Nico?
You guys can find me at NICO Action, NICOACTION, plus NICO Action Music, NICOACTIONMUSIC. We love making this show for you guys. We make it for you guys as often as we can. We know we had a kind of weird schedule for a minute, but we were doing some awesome work meeting amazing fans at FlameCon, and we were so grateful to meet all of our new fans. Can't wait to interact with you guys here. But also, don't forget, guys, like, comment, and subscribe because it helps us keep in touch with you. But also do us a favor. Number 1, please stay safe. Number 2, please be brave. And number 3, evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, who you are today, and who you are tomorrow. All of it is the beautiful tapestry of who you are, and we can't wait to see that magic. So until then, we'll flash you later.